It seems we have an interesting development in Montana's energy landscape.
Oh, absolutely.
NorthWestern Energy, the state's largest utility, just secured capacity on a massive new transmission line.
This is a major move for sure.
This could have significant ripple effects throughout the region.
Yeah, especially when you consider the scale of the project.
So tell me a little bit about this transmission line.
Well, we were talking about the North Plains Connector,
Okay.
a 300-megawatt line stretching 420 miles from Colstrip, Montana, all the way to Bismarck, North Dakota.
NorthWestern snagged 10% of the capacity on this line, which is designed to connect the eastern and western electricity grids.
It is.
I imagine this is going to open up a lot of possibilities.
Absolutely. This project is being touted as a way to improve grid reliability, allowing for the sharing of electricity across a much wider area. Think about it. Different regions experience different weather patterns and peak energy demands at different times. This line could help balance things out and potentially even lower costs for consumers.
And of course, a project of this magnitude comes with a hefty price tag.
It does.
$3.6 billion to be exact.
That's right.
It sounds like a lot of players are involved in making this happen.
You're right. It's not just NorthWestern. We've got Grid United, the transmission developer, leading the charge. Then there's Elite, a Minnesota energy company that will be responsible for operating the line.
So it's interesting to see these diverse stakeholders coming together for this project. It's clear that this isn't just about moving electricity around. It's about creating new markets and opportunities.
I think Kyle Unruh, a policy manager with Renewable Northwest, put it well when he described this as building a superhighway for electricity. And he believes Montana consumers stand to gain in a couple of ways.
Tell me about those benefits.
First, having access to a wider range of power sources could lead to more stable energy prices for consumers in Montana. Second, NorthWestern could generate what's known as wheeling income by essentially renting out space on the line to other companies that need to transmit electricity. It's like collecting tolls on that electricity superhighway.
So NorthWestern could potentially profit from this project in more ways than one. It seems like this project is also getting a significant boost from the federal government.
It is. Montana received a substantial grant from the U.S. Department of Energy, $700 million to help fund the construction of the line. And there's more. An additional $46 million was allocated for infrastructure improvements to support the construction workforce.
It seems like the federal government is really putting its weight behind this project. And it's not just Montana that's taking an interest. I understand that several utilities from the Pacific Northwest were also involved.
You're referring to Puget Sound Energy, Portland General Electric, and Avista. They're all looking to use the North Plains Connector to bring wind power generated in eastern Montana to the Northwest.
That's quite interesting, especially considering they're all working to transition away from coal power at the Colstrip plant.
It is.
It seems like there's a bit of a paradox here.
It is interesting to see how these different energy strategies intersect. On one hand, you have these Northwest utilities moving away from coal, and on the other hand, you have NorthWestern Energy actually expanding their fossil fuel portfolio.
You're right. They just brought a new gas plant online in Laurel and are planning to increase their ownership stake in the Colstrip plant. It's definitely a complex picture.
Unruh makes a good point, though, emphasizing that increased transmission capacity benefits all types of energy producers, whether they're focused on fossil fuels or renewables. It's all about having more options.
More options and flexibility seem to be at the heart of this project. So where do things stand now? Is this a done deal or are there still hurdles to overcome?
The North Plains Connector is currently in the permitting phase, which is being handled by the U.S. Department of Energy. If everything goes smoothly, construction is slated to begin in 2028.
And when can we expect this electricity superhighway to be fully operational?
The projected completion date is 2032, so we're looking at a significant time frame for this project to come to fruition. But the implications are potentially far-reaching. This new transmission line has the potential to reshape the energy landscape in the West.
How might this impact Montana's energy future?
Well, it's a multifaceted question considering NorthWestern Energy's recent expansion of their fossil fuel portfolio.
Right.
They just brought a new gas plant online in Laurel and plan to buy more shares in the Colstrip plant.
Simultaneously, this transmission line could facilitate the transport of wind power from eastern Montana to the Northwest.
Precisely. This underscores the complex and evolving nature of the energy sector, where traditional sources like coal and gas are being challenged by renewable alternatives like wind power.
What are the potential benefits of increased transmission capacity for Montana's energy consumers?
Increased transmission capacity can lead to greater grid reliability, which means fewer outages and disruptions to energy service. It also allows for the integration of more renewable energy sources, which can help reduce greenhouse gas emissions and contribute to a cleaner energy future for Montana.
How might this project affect the economics of energy production and consumption in Montana?
The North Plains Connector could open up new markets for Montana's energy producers, allowing them to sell electricity to a wider customer base.
Could this lead to potential economic benefits for the state?
It could. The construction and operation of the transmission line will also create jobs and stimulate economic activity in the region. Additionally, increased access to diverse energy sources could help stabilize energy prices for consumers, providing some protection from price volatility.
Are there any potential downsides or challenges associated with this project?
Certainly, large infrastructure projects like this one can have environmental impacts, including potential habitat disruption during construction. There are also concerns about the visual impact of transmission lines on the landscape.
Are there any community concerns regarding the project's route or potential impacts on private property?
Engaging with communities and addressing their concerns is crucial for the success of any large infrastructure project.
Okay.
It's important for the developers to be transparent about the project's potential impacts and to work collaboratively with communities to mitigate any negative effects.
How did this project align with Montana's overall energy policy and goals for the future?
Montana's energy policy is focused on ensuring reliable and affordable energy for its residents while also promoting the development of renewable energy sources. This project could contribute to those goals by enhancing grid reliability and facilitating the integration of more wind power into the state's energy mix.
What are some of the key factors that will determine the long-term success of this project?
Public acceptance and support, regulatory approvals, and successful collaboration between the various stakeholders involved. It will be interesting to see how this project unfolds and what its ultimate impact will be on Montana's energy landscape.
This seems like a significant step towards modernizing Montana's energy infrastructure and preparing for a future where renewable energy plays a more prominent role.
It certainly has the potential to be a game changer, but it's important to acknowledge that the energy transition is a complex process with no easy answers.
Right.
There will be challenges and trade-offs along the way.
What role do you see consumers playing in shaping Montana's energy future?
Consumers have a powerful voice. Their energy choices and preferences will influence the types of energy sources that are developed and the pace of the transition to cleaner energy.
What about the role of technology? Are there any emerging technologies that could further transform Montana's energy landscape in the coming years?
Advancements in battery storage technology, for example, could play a major role in making renewable energy sources more reliable and dispatchable.
Okay.
And smart grid technologies could help us manage energy consumption more efficiently, reducing waste and lowering costs.
So as we wrap up our discussion on this ambitious transmission line project, what's the key takeaway for our listeners?
The North Plains Connector represents a pivotal moment in Montana's energy journey. It's a reminder that the energy landscape is constantly evolving and that we need to be prepared to embrace innovation and change if we want to create a sustainable energy future for generations to come.
This project seems like a significant step towards modernizing Montana's energy infrastructure and preparing for a future where renewable energy plays a more prominent role.
It has that potential.
Yeah.
But the energy transition is a complex process. We must acknowledge that there will be challenges and trade-offs along the way.
What role do you see consumers playing in shaping Montana's energy future?
Consumers have a powerful voice. Their energy choices and preferences will influence the types of energy sources that are developed and the pace of the transition to cleaner energy.
What about the role of technology? Are there any emerging technologies that could further transform Montana's energy landscape in the coming years?
Advancements in battery storage technology, for example, could play a major role in making renewable energy sources more reliable and dispatchable. And smart grid technologies could help us manage energy consumption more efficiently, reducing waste and lowering costs.
So as we wrap up our discussion on this ambitious transmission line project, what's the one key takeaway for our listeners?
The North Plains Connector represents a pivotal moment in Montana's energy journey. It's a reminder that the energy landscape is constantly evolving and that we need to be prepared to embrace innovation and change if we want to create a sustainable energy future for generations to come.
Goodbye, and see you in the next video.